Morning, guys. I feel like my voice sounds kind of raspy today. I don't know why. So today I wanted to formally introduce you to the third foundation. Well, it's not a foundation, it's actually tinted moisturizer that is in my current capsule right now. I've briefly talked about it like 2 weeks ago, but I didn't really tell you exactly what this was all about. So this is the Beautycounter Tint Skin Complexion Coverage. I bought this off my friend Lauren's recommendation, and I only found out like a few days ago that it's not a foundation, it's a tinted moisturizer. Because I was thinking like, this definitely has lighter coverage than my Honest Beauty. And then I held on to this box because I wanted to read it off to you. And this is where I found out that it's actually not a foundation. So it says here, what it does, it's a tint skin complexion coverage, a light and creamy tinted moisturizer that covers inconsistencies and evens skin tone. Tint skin leaves complexion naturally glowing, smooth and fresh. Hyaluronic acid increases hydration and promotes smoother looking skin. So it says you can use this daily, alone, or on top of a moisturizer. It's definitely more affordable than the Gressa. The Gressa, this guy that I talked about in last week's morning chat, this retails for $54, and I think this was like 40 something. So now that I know that it's a tinted moisturizer, I'm like, it makes so much more sense about the coverage, you know? It's still pretty good. It really does even out my skin tone. It doesn't mask active breakouts like completely or anything. That's expected. But here's what that looks like on my skin. It's very light. Oh, and I have this in the color Sand. Great product. I think this is perfect for the summer. And my skin likes it. How are you guys doing? I hope you had a great weekend. If you did anything cool, or if you didn't, let me know below in the comments. Oh, was it Friday night? Oh my gosh, I watched this documentary and please, can you guys watch it so we can talk about it? It's by the filmmaker Michael Moore. He is most known for doing the Columbine documentary, but I watched his documentary called Where to Invade Next, and I think it came out sometime this year. Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, the reason I was interested in the first place is because, as you guys know, I'm a teacher, and Brandon like sent me this trailer or clip from this documentary, and it's about the education system in Finland. And they were saying how Finland's education system is #1 in the world. And I think the US ranks like number 29. And they were wondering like, what's your secret? What are you guys doing over there that your kids are excelling, right? And then they interviewed a bunch of principals and they all said, we don't give homework. We give kids time to play and be kids because they have the rest of their lives to, you know, be an adult and be responsible. So yeah, they really believe in letting kids just be themselves. So I watched this little clip and I was really intrigued because originally I thought the entire documentary was about the education system in Finland, and I was all about that, you know, like I'd love to adapt some of that into what I do here because the Korean education system is super competitive. It's very, I guess, rigid, I want to say. You know, it's the reason that I left the schools and I kind of just do my freelance thing because I don't necessarily agree with how things are done, right? So I'm kind of making my own path there. But one thing that I really liked was they were talking to one of the teachers or the principal, and they're saying that, you know, you let a kid play outside after school, and while they're climbing a tree and they happen to like discover different insects, the next day they'll come and talk about the insects, and it starts a conversation in the class, and you give them, you know, like free rein to be, you know, curious and explore. I love that. So the premise of this documentary is Michael Moore, the filmmaker, he's going to different countries in Europe and he is trying to see what each country is doing extremely well, and his goal is to bring that little tidbit back to the States so that the States can not suck as much. So one of the first places he visits is Italy, and he talks to a couple there, and they're just talking about you know, the work culture. They get like, I don't know, some crazy amount of days off a year. I think the guy he interviewed had like 80 vacation days, or it's because he didn't use them. They just keep rolling over into the new year. And on top of that, they get like a 2-hour lunch break in which like all the employees go home and like they have like a home cooked meal before they return to work, and just everyone just seems so chill and happy there. If any of you guys, my viewers, if you guys are in Italy, please correct me if I'm wrong, but your work culture seems pretty freaking sweet. I know he also visits Norway, but I can't remember what he took away from Norway. In Germany though, what I remember about him visiting Germany is they don't want any of their workers to be stressed out, and so if anyone is stressed out from working, they can go to the doctor and get like a doctor's note to visit a spa, and like you just get like fully pampered at a spa because companies don't want their workers to get stressed out. Like, that is insane to me. And then Finland, I've already mentioned about their education system. God, I don't know why I can't remember anything else right now, but the entire time that Brandon and I were watching this, like our jaws were open and we were just like looking over each other like, oh my gosh, are we living in the wrong country? Do we need to move to Europe? And I actually seriously proposed the idea of us like packing up and going to Germany. And I initially thought that Brandon would be like, you're being crazy, you know, like I'm being impulsive. But he was actually like, I'd be up for it. And so that's been kind of on my mind. Like, I just want to kind of pack up and just experience a different culture, you know. And I am aware that it is a documentary. I'm sure there are, you know, pros and cons of living anywhere, and maybe the documentary like sensationalized some of these countries for me, but still, like, I'm very intrigued. I guess that's how I should put it. I'm very intrigued. I will say though, like, as I was watching the documentary, there were definitely times where I felt like the US was getting bashed on. Oh my gosh. Okay, now I remember one other thing. Maybe it was Norway, but he visited different prisons, like even like the maximum security prisons. And these prisoners were in like the most beautiful prison cells. They looked better than like most university dorm rooms. And basically their whole ideology is that, you know, unlike the US where they like beat their inmates for like no good reason sometimes, in this country, Norway if I'm not mistaken, they believe that they want to put their prisoners in an environment where they like teach them to be humane and show them the importance of being kind and not like, you know, murder and rape people. And apparently, okay, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it is Norway. I'm sorry, this is really annoying, but their facilities are incredible. And apparently, statistic-wise, the number of like rapes and murders are actually the lowest in that country. And I think it is because they treat their, you know, citizens like humans. And they're not like dragging and kicking them on the floor and just beating them up because of the color of their skin, you know? So that was like another mind-blowing thing. Like each prisoner had their own keys and they get to go back into their cells, you know, without any like guards around, and they get prepared like amazing meals, and oh my gosh, mind blown. Yeah, now talking about this is bringing it back. But in France, Michael Moore visited a cafeteria of one of the like lowest ranking elementary schools, like an elementary school that's not in the wealthiest neighborhood. So he visits their cafeteria and these kids get like a 5-course like gourmet meal, and they are taught how to eat, and they're taught about the different kind of cheeses. Lunchtime isn't like a rush 30 minutes where you just have to scarf down food, but they treat it like they would treat, you know, an art class or a math class, and they get like a full hour or maybe even more to just sit and just enjoy their meal and learn how to use like silverware. And these kids are tiny, they're so young. Yeah, like as I'm watching this, you know, Michael Moore's showing clips of like police officers beating like colored men, you know, stripping them naked and like just treating them like animals. And like the vibe that I was getting while I was watching this documentary was, it kind of almost felt like he was bashing on the US, but I like how he tied it together at the end. I won't spoil it too much for you because I would really, really like you guys to watch it so we can talk about it. But Anyway, and please, if you live in any of the countries that I've just talked about, like, let me know if all that I'm talking about is accurate. God, I would love to raise kids, you know, in an education system like Finland's, where giving them, you know, giving my kids like free reign to be what they want and not just be another test score, you know, in the education system. It's sad. A lot of the kids in Korea, it makes me really sad. It makes me never want to be a kid again, and makes me not want to really raise kids here. Yeah, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned it here, but Brandon and I have talked about this, and if we were to, like, if we had to raise our kids here, I think I would homeschool them. I'm like really excited talking about this, but now it's like feeling kind of like a rant and I'm getting emotional. So let me just calm down. Just calm down. Have some water. I'm okay. I'm okay. Today's video is totally random, but just kind of sharing what's going on in here. As you guys know, or as you can guess with my whole like trying to live simply, you know, more like a minimalist, Brandon and I have been talking about moving to another apartment or location in Seoul. Just to give you a little background information, Brandon and I live in a very, very nice neighborhood. We live in a very, I want to say like a well-to-do neighborhood. Our location is fantastic. Our apartment is so well cared for. Like this entire building, the maintenance is insane. And I'm not sharing all this to brag or anything, but we are extremely fortunate. You know, even with our friends that visit, they're always like, oh my gosh, I love your location. I love where you live. And trust me, Brandon and I do not take that for granted at all. But you know, we're thinking like, it's definitely a luxury to live here. So Brandon and I rent here, and you know, we were thinking about all the money that just gets thrown away by renting. We've discussed many times the idea of moving to a smaller place, somewhere where the location isn't like so convenient. And we've had talks about that, but this weekend I actually tried to action it, and I was looking on Craigslist at different places in Seoul. And really our requirement is that, you know, we want to have like a parking garage. Like we don't have to street park. I'm a little weird about street parking in Korea. And you know, for when it rains and when it snows, it's always nice to have your car in an indoor garage. Our building currently has an indoor garage that's like three floors deep. So that's really nice. And you know, we don't have to worry about anything happening to our car. And not that anything will, like Korea is relatively safe. Anyway, I'm digressing. So that's one of our requirements. The other requirements we have are the commute. We don't want it to be too bad for Brandon. One of the things that I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to live in a loft, like with really high ceilings. And there are certain apartments in Korea where that is an option. So when you first walk in, it's just super high ceilings, and then you know, you have your kitchen and living room area, and then you take like a small flight of stairs, and you just have like, it's not a full floor, but it's high enough for you to put a bed and maybe like a small wardrobe. So really we'd be using the upstairs just for sleeping. I want to live somewhere where there's a lot of light and just super high ceilings. I found a place when I was looking yesterday, and it's beautiful. And the crazy thing is, it is so significantly more affordable than where we are now. And it actually even has 2 bedrooms on the first floor, a kitchen, a living room, and then the upstairs loft. And I texted the landlord right away, and then he told me that he would look into the place to see if it's still available. And I thought like, okay, something has to be wrong with it because it just sounds way too good to be true. And then he messaged me this morning and he told me that it just got taken. So maybe it really was a sweet deal considering how fast that was, because when I checked the Craigslist posting, it was posted like 2 hours before I checked, and that was Sunday, you know. And then today's Monday, the apartment's gone. But he did ask me some questions. I kind of gave him an idea of what we're looking for, and he says that he might be able to find us something in Gangnam, which would be freaking fantastic. I don't know, I guess this could really be happening. which would be so cool. And obviously I'll keep you guys posted on our progress with that. Okay, I'm gonna sidetrack a little bit, but oh my gosh, I freaking love the coverage on my face right now. This tinted moisturizer, good stuff. It looks so natural and it's so light and I love it. Next random topic is the weather is really warming up in Seoul and I have had to switch out my wardrobe much faster or quicker than I thought I needed to. So I was originally planning to have my spring capsule wardrobe run from March to the end of May. We are halfway into May, but I just cannot wear the majority of my long sleeves, like minus 1 or 2 button downs. It is just too hot. What I did was I did follow like a 1 in 1 out rule, except I removed 5 long sleeves and I brought in 5 short sleeves. Ooh, let me show you guys something. So when people move out of apartments here, they have like these little, I don't know what those are called, like those motorized ladder thingies, and then they bring out furniture from the veranda and they just drop something really heavy. I heard like a doom, but I want to show you. I don't know if I've ever like seen this in the States, or maybe I just haven't paid attention to it, but it happens all the time here. Oh my gosh, sorry about that. I was zooming in to show you guys what was going on outside. I didn't realize you were looking at my nostril. Sorry. It just happens everywhere here when people are moving out, especially when they're moving, big pieces of furniture. And I always get so nervous that something's gonna fall, and then it happened today. All right, sorry. I am all over the place today. Okay, so capsule wardrobe, yes. I'm learning, just like with anything else, just like my dancing, things don't go as planned. And because I'm such a control freak and such a planner, I was like, oh, I wish the weather was perfectly, spring from like March to May, and then from like June to August, it's summer. And, like everything had a clear start and end date, but obviously that's not going to happen. And, it's helping me to appreciate this process, helping me to be flexible. And I know it's like, it's just clothes, right? It's not the biggest deal, but it is like this new lifestyle that I'm trying to adapt with, like trying to roll with the punches. And so it's like, okay, the weather's getting warm. That's okay. Like, I don't have to suffer and wear long sleeves until the end of May because that's what I planned for. And it's funny because Brandon teased me about that. Like, after we went shopping, like we did massive shopping in California just to get some clothes before the next few seasons, because Brandon and I don't shop in Korea. As you know, that he's a huge guy. He can't even find sizes here, really. And so, yeah, we just bought a ton of stuff and we brought it back. And I know he was like really tempted to start wearing the new stuff. And I said, no, you can't wear anything until May 30th. He was like, please, can I just wear some of my new button downs? I'm like, no, you can't. I'm sorry. And so this weekend when it got hot and I was like, hey babe, like I think I need to start swapping out some clothes. And he's like, no, you can't. It's not May. It's not May 30th. You can't do that. You can't break the capsule rules. He was just like enjoying, like beating me over the head with, what I said to him. Whatever. I'm the one that sets up both of our wardrobes. I'm the one that washes everything and puts everything in the storage boxes under our bed. I'm the one that curates everything and makes sure that he has enough clothes for the work week and for the weekend. I'm the one that does all the work, so I get final say. And it's funny because I found myself like justifying, why I needed to switch out my clothes because it's getting hot. And then of course he just ends up laughing at me. He's like, I don't actually care. Like, do what you gotta do. It's like, he just wanted to give me a hard time and just make fun of me with this whole capsule thing. Okay, almost done here. Have I mentioned enough how much I love the RMS Beauty Living Luminizer? Freaking love this. Something else I've been really enjoying doing is taking Bite Beauty's Tannin. This is the lip product that I talked about last week, but I like to take some on my finger like that and then just kind of smudge it onto my lips, or like tap it in, so it's more like it's more of a tint than it is a bold red color. I have been enjoying this look more for every day, for when I go teach. Like, I don't need to look like I'm going to a fashion show, you know? Love this stuff. Love Bite Beauty. One of my new favorite brands now. All right, my friends, I'm going to head out and get started on my day. I hope you all kick Monday in the butt, and I will see you soon. Bye.